My name is Cristina Chipriano. I use she, her, AF pronouns. I am the Director of Training and Program Equity at Dougy Center, the National Grief Center for Children and Families. I'm also a licensed clinical social worker, and I hold a fellow in thanatology certification from the Association of Death Education and Counseling. So we are seeing right now the mental health of immigrant refugees and just mixed status families being really affected, specifically around their trauma and grief. And we see families being unsure if their safety is guaranteed in many aspects of their day-to-day life. We are seeing higher episodes in some families of anxiety around unable to predict truly what it comes down foundationally, the safety. We're seeing an overprotectiveness in children over their parents and the other way around. It's a huge stressor that's being added to our families as they are trying to navigate the world that we live in. Often we're trying to put in the lens of seeing how trauma and grief can show up in mixed status and refugees families. And truly, it's not one size fits all, right? It's not looking at, oh, you're going to be angry or you're gonna not show up. It's an entire spectrum, and there is no one way that it's going to look. Truly, our responsibility is to show up for our families and ask with curiosity around what has been going on. So when we look at what's recently been happening within our society, where there's been this increase in immigration enforcement, and looking at how that's impacting the communities that we're in, it is imperative for all of us to really look at how we support our school communities through what's known as a trauma-informed lens. It's to shift that mindset from what's wrong with you to what's happened to you. So we're taking the responsibility away from our person sitting in front of us being the problem and shifting it towards what is happening in our community. So when we look at the reality that many of our students and their families live in constant fear of what is going to happen, and once they arrive on campuses, we have to acknowledge how the additional stressor that's bringing onto their lives of this very unprecedented time, and in expecting our families and kids and teens to show up in the way that they have been. I lean on safety quite a bit because there is such a thing as trying to ensure that there's physical safety, emotional safety. So does a person feel as though they can trust the individual that's sitting in front of them? I'd also lend just a little bit more awareness on the language that we're using with each other. They're just to bring mindfulness, right, around avoiding making assumptions such as, is your family okay? When we don't know the status of families, we don't know the status of our kids and our students, and the last thing we want is for them to feel like we are not trusted individuals because we're inquiring about the logistics of their strategies. Along with that, I would bring in the elements around checking in with folks on what would be helpful. So not just saying, let me know if you need anything, but saying, hey, I can help you out by giving you more time for your assignment, or ensuring that there is a chain of who is to pick you up, a support plan in place should something happen, that we are providing actual tangible things that we can help support our students and their families with, and not just saying, let me know if you need anything. It comes down to meeting our folks and our students and families with curiosity and humility, right? They are the experts of their own story, and recognition that whatever might be happening right now could be the second, third, fourth, fifth, or seventh time that this family is having to navigate a system like this. think the key component really falls into becoming informed and aware of what is happening in your community. It can be very easy to become overwhelmed with all that's happening in the world, but it's imperative for us to really stay attuned to what's happening in our own backyard and in our own communities, to do just minor check-ins. How are things going with the volunteers, right? Are there resources that would be helpful to have, whether it be books or tip sheets or activities, or just the ability to support further education and further training? But at the same time, not saying here's everything you need to do, but instead just doing a simple check-in, like how are things going, and if there are other elements in which the PTA can help bring awareness or bring support in for the volunteers doing the work. Secondly, how can we support the student? So does our school and systems have a policy in place to provide a little bit extra leniency, let's see, towards homework or assignments? Do we have a support plan in place for our students if they are feeling overwhelmed in that classroom? Is there space within the school that they can head to, whether it be the counselor's office or the nurse's office, or just like the librarian, somewhere that they can go for a few minutes just to recalibrate in that moment, to remain mindful around holidays or as the year progresses, right? In terms of our students and families who have had a caregiver of some sort be separated or die, how do we remain mindful around the holidays that specifically center for example, Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever might be coming up? How do we make the options inclusive and provide opportunities to not participate wholly in those activities, but maybe have something different that the student can do? I would be remiss if I didn't just mention play is the language of children. It's how they communicate in the world. So as much as we can incorporate play and have play-like activities spread throughout the classroom or the school, it would be one of the best things we could do. So looking at ways in which we can incorporate, whether it's physical activity, music, art, writing, or talking, all the different forms of expression, I think it's imperative for us to know that kids and teens are very physical in their grief and subsequently at times their trauma responses. So being able to provide spaces or opportunities for big energy to be let out is critical. I would turn to your local partners in the community that are doing some of the work. So whether it be community centers or multi-service centers that are places where our families frequent, to see if there are anything within the school environment that we can help support. On a larger scale, there are national organizations like the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, which has a lot of information and resources on their website around what it means to be trauma informed. Along with our World of Grief, I would say the National Alliance for Children's Grief is a great resource. Dougy Center, the agency that I work for, has hundreds of free resources in multiple languages on their website, whether it be tip sheets, activities, there are podcast episodes as well. There's a wealth of free resources out there in the world. It's just a matter of being able to locate them. So I would say collectively for schools and PTAs to start on the grassroots and see what's going on within your community.